What are the factors that make for a successful book launch? One of them is getting great reviews. The reviews are hard to get. How can you get them? Well, today you're going to learn how you can get great reviews for your books. Hi, I'm Dan Janelle. I'm a book coach, developmental editor, and ghostwriter. And no matter where you are in the writing process, I can help you write your book. Now, our guest today is Robbie Samuels. He's an expert on book product launches. He's going to help you figure out how you can get reviews so you can sell more books. Let's take it away, Robbie.
Written reviews help prospective readers decide whether or not to buy your book. And even a one-star review could help sales. So here's my example. My wife is an avid reader. She listens to 30, close to 300 audiobooks a year. She's listening all the time, like 280 books last year. Now I'm listening to like 120, 150, which I know is nothing to sneeze at, but when you're in this household, small potatoes. If she sees a one-star review on a romance that talks about there being too much smut, she's like, right? So like someone else's yuck is someone else's yum. So a book review that says, I don't like this book, it's too blank, might help someone else be like, oh, that book would be great for me. And this is why I give people prompts for how to write a strong review, prompts that will help that review help prospective readers, because a quality review tells prospective readers what to expect. And I often do get asked whether I help authors actually write books, and I don't in the traditional sense. I'm not a writing coach, I'm not a developmental editor, but what I can do is, as a business growth strategy coach and a book launch strategist, I ask the right questions and I can save an entrepreneur months or years of writing a book that doesn't easily lead the right prospects to their services. And I coach entrepreneurs one-on-one. I also have an online program. And for me, the idea is making sure that all of this effort leads to the offer that comes after the book, if it's a business book. And sometimes I'm talking to authors and they don't really know what those offers are, or maybe they did when they started writing the book, but it's been a little while. And so I have coaching that I do in addition that helps them develop and pilot new offers. So I just dropped into chat some information about how you can schedule a call with me, a complimentary, no risk, no required booking me kind of a call. So I believe that you've already met 80% of the people you need to know to be successful. Okay. You've already met 80% of the people you need to know to be successful. This is the piece about reviews. We want reviews to come from people who are likely prospects and likely referral partners. This is not about paying someone to get reviews for you, because those people don't know you and you don't know them, and you cannot nurture them through a process that will lead to conversations that will lead to them buying your book in bulk, or getting you on media, or buying your other coaching services, etc. So I want you to think about who's in your network. We often are limited in our mind, maybe for entrepreneurs, to thinking about who's in our email list. And some of us don't have email lists. So you're thinking, oh, I don't really know anyone, but that's not the case. Okay. Just looking at this chart, you'll see you're going to have your people on Facebook, your people on LinkedIn. Your phone contacts may have more than all of that combined, because we've had our devices for like 14 years, and every time you get a new device, it imports your contacts in. I have, it turns out, just over 2,000 contacts in my phone. And these are some numbers from 14 years ago, people that at some point in my life I knew well enough to have their phone number. I don't have a phone number of people I see weekly on Zoom, but back in the day, that was how we connected. So I think it's time to wake up our network. And I want to give you an example of how this plays out for one of my clients. I have a client who I just spoke to last week. She's doing the second edition of a book that was very popularly received back in 2017. And she watched the online videos that I created for my online program. The program is called Better Than Bestseller, Turn Reviews into Revenue. And it's included with my coaching, or it's separate. So she is watching these videos and she says to me, I laughed out loud when you started talking about how I was going to like find, hundreds of people to be on my launch team. And then she says she saw this part where I talk about how for my last book, I built a launch team of over 600 people because I wanted to have over 200 reviews. And she said, I am not going to do that. And she gets on the call with me and she tells me this. And then she says, by the way, she's only had the program for 2 weeks. She's Robbie, I already have over 500 people on my invite list for my launch team. And I was like, well, I'm not surprised. And she's like, I am dumbfounded. I didn't think I knew all these people. I said, well, where'd you start? She goes, well, I started on my Facebook because I've just been very active on Facebook. So I thought I'll just like look at my friends list. And I had this criteria for her to go through. And she's like, oh, this person fits, this person fits, this doesn't fit. So here's the beginning of the criteria. It's a two-part question. Would this person remember your name? And would you be happy to hear from them? So that's the first part of this. And the second part is about like really kind of understanding their connection to you, their influence in the space, and their interest in your topic. And there's a ranking system. And based on that, you'll figure out whether they're a likely prospect, likely referral partner, or someone you shouldn't bother really putting on effort into reaching out to. So she hadn't even gone through her LinkedIn context at that point. And while we were on the call, she thought of like 3 or 4 more Facebook groups that she could be going through the member list. And then she also thought of an alumni group. And then we're going to be meeting at a conference we're going to in August. So there's going to be plenty of people at that conference that are going to want to support her. So I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up with 6, 7, 800 people on her list. And she is not an anomaly. I tend to work with authors who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, and they've got decades of experience out in the world, and they've got countless individuals who are connected to them through work, clients, speaking engagements, alumni groups, and so much more. The challenge isn't not knowing people, it's having a process that allows you to sort of dig into that network. So I created this Wake Up Your Network workbook, and I developed it to give people access to figuring out like who their likely prospects are and who are their likely referral partners. It's in my second book. It's also the core piece of my online program. My online program guides folks through the steps of the launch, which I'll explain in a second. It gives as a whole mindset module because honestly, the steps don't matter if you don't have the right mindset to follow this process. I also include tech tips for how to manage all of these different names because it's quite a few people once you start building a big list. And I have email templates for knowing like how do I invite people onto this launch team and then what is a series of emails that I'm going to be sending to them. So I just want to really impress upon you the idea that your network is an untapped resource and we really should be thinking about our network as an insurance policy. You don't pay a monthly insurance premium hoping to use your network. It's quite use your insurance, I should say. It's quite the opposite. You hope to never ever have to put in an insurance claim. So similarly, I want you to invest regularly in your network, not because you hope to ever need something, but then you'll know that these folks are there for you should you need something. And I have to say the time of writing a book is the perfect moment to go knocking on these doors, bringing these calls, reaching out to people because it kind of gives you an excuse to do it. You don't need a book to wake up your network, but it does make you probably feel a little more excited about doing it because you have something of value to offer people. I want you to remember it's not who you know or what you know, it's who knows what you know and will they remember you. All right, here are my steps of the launch. And you're welcome to take a screenshot, but I also am going to share this with you if you fill out a form at the end that tells people, lets me know how you're feeling about my presentation. Let me walk you through this. So there's 5 phases, and I'm going to drop some information in the chat about how to get this graphic if you give me some feedback. So there's these 5 phases for you. The first is, as I mentioned, building that invite list, right? That's really like looking through your existing network and figuring out who are the people that I would want to invite on my launch team, given their interest in this topic, their influence in this space. The second is to invite those people actually onto the launch team. I use a Google form for this to keep track of everybody. And then you now have the second list of people that have all opted in and set their intentions to write you a review. The third phase is you ask these people to write your review. You give them the advanced reader copy, which is usually a PDF of the Kindle version is one way of doing it. And you give them the prompts, as I mentioned. Fiction prompts work as well. What are the tell me like how I don't know how believable is the romance? Did you enjoy the tropes? There's lots of things. My wife is pacing. My wife writes reviews for every book she reads on Goodreads, so I know there's criteria we can come up with. So we send them the advanced reader copy. We give them the prompts, and we nurture them with a couple of emails to get them to actually send in their review to the author via a second Google form. Now, the reason I separate this process is that most people aren't used to writing reviews. The staring at an empty little box on Amazon doesn't inspire lots of like confidence about what to write. So if we do this, we can gather the reviews. And then the fourth phase is we give them back their text of their review with the steps of how to post it on Amazon once the book has been published. And the fifth is we have a launch party. I tend to host virtual launch parties. I'm the Zoom guy. I design and MC virtual book launch parties, usually the day after that launch, so that we can really talk about the success of the book, the reviews, the number one categories, number one new releases, the sales, all whatever other good things have come from it, media hits, etc. So those are the information that I'm sharing with you. I'm happy to take lots of questions. I'm sharing with you on the screen a way to answer the feedback form so you can get my 5 phases of a launch graphic. You can grab your phone, go to your camera, go to the QR code, press the link and go that way, or you can click on the link in chat. And I would be happy to see what questions have come in while we're doing this. I'm going to bring Dan back up to join me. Hey, Dan.
Great. Thank you very much, Robbie. Can you give us a little bit more detail about the prompts for a business book?
Yep, I'll read them out loud. So,
All
what is
right.
your biggest takeaway from this book? What will you do differently because of this book? Who would benefit from reading this book? I just dropped them in chat as well. And again, if you were writing a fiction book, you could come up with different ones talking about pacing. Is the romance believable? Talking about the tropes. I mean, I'm I'm sure we can come up with like a good generic set of prompts to start with, but then you can adapt it for your talk as well or your content. And of course, if you want to have a conversation with me, no obligation, 30-minute complimentary chat, you can fill out my form. Basically, I want to understand more about the goals you have around your book, and then I can give you some guidance. The good news about the BizBook Publishing Hub is that if it's something outside of the scope of what I want to be known for, I've not only have I created this really big sort of network of referrals, I also have people that I've particularly worked with who are like leads for me, but I can then send clients back to them who need a little more help, and vice versa. If you're done with your book and looking for more marketing ideas, I mean, there's someone who does video trailers, which is really cool. It's like a speaker reel for your book. If you want to be fancy, so you can do that. But I just think full service. We want to support more people getting their books out there. Any closing thoughts from you, Dan, as we wrap up here?
Yeah, because some people are going to be watching this or listening to this on audio, could you actually say the names of the links and spell them out if necessary so that people can write them down?
Very happy to. And you can put these in the show notes, bizbookpublishinghub.com. That's the free resource with 50 plus experts that guide entrepreneurs through writing, editing, publishing, and marketing a business book. If you yourself are an entrepreneur who works with entrepreneurs around becoming successful authors, you can sign up at robbiesamuels.com/bizbook referral partners to learn more about becoming a hub partner. And then twice a year, I organize a Kindle cross promotion campaign. There's one happening right now, robbiesamuels.com/prime24. And lastly, if you are a business author who wants to join that campaign in the future, you can go to robbiesamuels.com/Kindle promo waitlist. And if you have a book that's ready for a launch, or perhaps want to discuss a relaunch, you can fill out a form at robbiesamuels.com/book launch support to get more details. All of this is available at robbiesamuels.com. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and you will find out about all the other things that I do if you head over to my site.
Great. Thank you very much, Robbie. It's been very, very informative. Thank you so much for your time. And check out, and thanks everyone for listening. You can find more than 200 other episodes of Write Your Book in a Flash on this YouTube channel. Check them out.